welcome to the 2018-2019 Asian Le Mans Series finale. The series has travelled all the way from Shanghai, Fuji, Buriram and finally made its way here to Sepang, Malaysia. My name is Nadia Nash and great to have you here.
The endurance racing world is watching what happens here. And for that grandstand finish, it's all been set up by 12 hours of racing so far, including, of course, the last 4 hours of racing we had not that long ago in the Kingdom of Thailand.
Right. It was
at
in Thailand.
Buriram. Fantastic. Let's have a look back. Well, it was blisteringly hot for the start, 31 degrees, and it just got hotter. Waited till the lights went out. We're looking to see what Phil Hansen could do. Didn't expect that Ate de Jong would defend as he did. That allowed the second Algarve Pro car to come through and gave Phil Hansen some things to worry about to start with. It got busy behind them through turn 1, then later again at turn 3. Amongst the real stars at the start of the race, Tianxi Racing ran 1-2 with their gentleman drivers in the Audi R8s. Later in the race, though, brake failure for Johnny Molam. And later, still in the race, a string of 2 penalties for the car guy, the 11 Ferrari, that saw their lead hard won by James Collado. Collado's pace was stellar. Car guy take another win. Right at the end too, we saw problems for Kai van Berlo. He lost a podium position to Colin Noble, who in turn then suffered problems and was under threat right to the flag from his own teammates. The 13 crew leading the championship were battling at every turn to see what they could do in a race-long battle with the number 2 United Autosports crew. That was Christian Olsen, by the way, on the inside, taking back the lap from the leading pair, but the number 2 car, near faultless from them. They took the lead from the Inter Europol car and maintained it to the end. It was them, then the Polish team. This was one of the moments of the race, though, that possibly robbed us of a fighting finish. The 24 car in the hands of Andrea Pizzitola hitting the GT leader. 23 car fell out of contention for the LMP2 and battle with time in the garage. Darren Burke forced his way up into 3rd position overall. Let that go as the 35 car up the inside here to take 3rd position overall as a problem as yet undiscovered by us. Hit the number 4 car, but Darren Burke did enough to bring back the win in LMP2 AM. Very late final splash of fuel for the 22 was not enough to make that anything other than a convincing, dominant win from the 22 squad. It was certainly Paul Di Resta with a single stint, but absolutely Phil Hansen, the star of the race here, in terms of the pace that he brought through to the checkered flag. A day to remember at Buriram in Thailand. Double win. That'll be the headline of the press release that hits your inboxes if you're on the mailing list.
Yes, Matthew Bonadell here with me, head of motorsports from Michelin. Now we know that Michelin has been a great partner to this series, but we want to know on the other way around, how important is the Asian Le Mans series to Michelin?
Well, obviously it's very important because Michelin and Le Mans, we share the same passion about endurance racing. You know, it's really have the same value because it's part of our DNA to deliver not only performance throughout motorsport, but also performance lap after lap, stint after stint, and that's really what we try to promote, to encourage, and also to embed into our tires, race tires, but definitely also our road tires. You know, racing for us is not just being quick on a lap, but being quick throughout the race, and this is how you win.
We saw pretty hot laps yesterday in a fantastic pair of qualifying sessions. See the highlights from that a little later. But let's look on board now with James Collado aboard the championship leading Ferrari, the number 11 car guy Ferrari, at this fantastic Sepang International Circuit.
Hi, I'm James Collado and I'm going to take you for a lap at Sepang Circuit in our 488 GT3 car with Car Guy Racing. We're going into a high-speed turn 1 now with a very heavy braking point, normally looking for around 100-meter point. As you can see, with this hot weather, it's a bit unstable and the grip levels are pretty low. I tried to hit the curb here, kind of sucks you in into turn 2 and get early on the throttle to try and get a good exit. We then have a long steady right-hander, again into a pretty big braking point, which is uphill, so it makes it slightly easier to stop the car. Again, looking for the apex close to the curb on the inside and getting early on the throttle, using probably a bit too much track on the exit there. This is the highest speed set of corners, very, very high speed. As you can see, car twitching around, trying to keep it to the left as much as I can. As you can see again, a lot of oversteer. Car wasn't so balanced at this point. The double right, always hard. You need to anticipate the corner a little bit and not overdrive, and try and concentrate again on getting a good exit. This is the smallest corner on the track, turn 7, a heavy braking point. Trying to brake in a straight line. Here I made a bit of a silly mistake, missed the apex a little bit, which cost me on the exit. This is a very difficult corner, a blind right-hander. You have to almost guess where to turn in, second gear. Then again, using all the track available on the exit. Again, high-speed corner. This is really fun corner, one of my favorites. Chuck the car in, try not to use all the track available. Again, twitchy on the rear there, something I need to try and sort tomorrow. Now we have probably the longest straight, going into one of the hardest corners. Again, it's blind, looking for the 100-meter board visually, gives you a good reference where to brake. Down to first gear as well, trying to stop the car. Ving in the corner, again, completely missing the apex, but it's something I can solve for tomorrow. And then trying to get a good exit back over the start-finish line for another lap. So thanks for joining me on my hot lap of Sepang. Not the tidiest of laps, but something I can work on for tomorrow. Cheers.
Qualifying from Saturday was really a sight to see, and if you missed it, well, let's have a little look back now at all the action from both the LMP2 and LMP3 and the GT class qualifying.
2 15-minute qualifying sessions started with the 5 GT cars out on track, the single Aston Martin, the 2 Audis, the 2 Ferraris. James Collado needed just a single point to clinch the championship for the number 11 car guy, Ferrari 488 GT3 squad, but he couldn't quite deliver it today. Gave his best to Dries van Toor in the number 88 CXRT Audi. The car's running in 2019 specification for the first time in Southeast Asia. A fine pole position to bookend the year. 17 LMP cars out on track, 7 P2s, 9 LMP3s, the Acuria Cos 79 car not taking to the track. This was all about the point for pole as well. 22 car in the hands of Philip Hansen was right up there at the start. Pipo Derani also in the mix. Wayne Boyd looking for pole to close the gap in LMP3 in the number 2 United Autosports JSP3. Nigel Moore and Christian Olsen in the 65 Viper Nice and the 7 Acuria Cos Ligiers would be right up there too, but it was Nigel Moore, champion 2 years ago, pole position again here for the locally based team Viper Nice Racing, that brought the 65 car through to take pole position in P3. P2 looked like it was going the way of the Judd powered cars. At one point, the top 3 were all Judd V8 powered LMP2s. Andrea Pizzitola setting the quickest time of that bunch. Philip Hansen made his bid late on in the 22 United Autosports car. The championship leader looking to extend that by a further valuable point and give themselves the edge. In the number 8 car, Spirit of Race, Pipo Derani would bring the returning Ligier Nissan from the Italian-based team home to cross the line and take pole position for the final race of the 2018-19 Asian Le Mans Series.
The 5.5 kilometer Sepang International Circuit with its 15 turns is the hub for all motorsport in Malaysia. Opened in 1999, it has crowned champions in every racing class and provided spectacular entertainment. So now as we look at the grid positions, there is Spirit of Race up top, Com Ledegar starting in that. UA in second, Algarve Pro in the LMP2, and just at the bottom of your screen you can see there United Autosports right now heading that LMP3 class with Garrett Grist, Chris Buncombe and Wayne Boyd.
LMP3 continues through, packed LMP3 grid. The Acuria Cos Nielsen Racing number 7 car the number 7 car were in the battle for pole position. The other car, problem with power steering, kept them out of the battle for qualifying yesterday, but it's packed and it's going to be very close. Through to the GT class, and there we've got those 5 cars. It was a first ever pole position from the 2019 spec Audi, being fielded this time for the first time by TSRT Racing. There are the red lights, watch them go, then the power gets down. They wait, they wait, they wait. Pipo Derani goes a little early and he gets the jump on the rest of the field. Did he go a little too early? Look at the lead he's got. He got the power in. Phil Hansen comes across to cover the 2 Algarve Pro cars, something he didn't do at Buriram. Big lock up there for the 24, goes wide. That's going to allow cars up the inside, loses 3 places to that move. And meantime, back in LMP3, what was going on there Well, there has been a move forward from Nigel Moore. He's taken 3 cars in the very early moments. Also looking to go up the inside, the number 4 car there in the hands of Mira Konopka in this first stint. But Pipa Durrani herring away. There's the 13 car looking for the lead. Can't quite do it there. Fends off. The number 7 goes wide up the inside. So also recovering is the number 79 car. Remember, that's the other car that started from the back, and this is going to be 2 quick young men from the United Kingdom. From the back of the LMP3 grid, Colin Noble in the number 79 car, wheel to wheel with Nigel Moore. Keep an eye on that pair, because that could get very hairy very quickly.
It's all getting very tight now as they come into turns 9 and 10. And just look at that field, as you said. It's just streaming away. There's so many cars.
Nigel Moore does make the move on Colin Noble. Also to the DC Racing car, Jackie Chan DC Racing. And also a quick start there from the number 5 car. Johnny Molan gets the privilege of making the last ever race start for the V12 Vantage GT3 in international competition, contemporary competition at least. Neat and tidy at the front of the field. We'll wait and see how the race director calls that start. Pipa Durrani, I heard him on the throttle.
He did look a little bit early, and he did, well, you'd have to say he managed to get an advantage out of it as well.
Yeah, Garrett Griss, meanwhile, in the lead of LMP3. Coming through, though, is going to be who in second place here? Because it looks to me like Nigel Moore is the man on the move. 35 car, Panis Barthez competition. Third on the grid, Jean-Baptiste Lehay. It is, it's dropped back a position there, dropped back to 4th. And it is under pressure from the 23 car, Patrick Byrne. LMP2 AM entry, of course.
So initial laps, 1:59 for the top 3, 2:02s for 4th and 5th, and going up to 2:06. You can expect those lap times to be coming down, but really fast from Philip Hansen already.
Into the pits comes the number 38 car. This is one of 2 we're going to see that gets this 2-minute stop and hold penalty. That's because both these cars had an engine change during this weekend. Lots of unhappiness, particularly from the Jackie Chan DC Racing crew about that decision. Their position is that it was a logistical issue for the engine supplier that caused the problem, that they had to get it done here. There was no option for them in Buriram. They weren't in that race. So a very unhappy David Cheng before this race. But 38 car will be back in the race. Rick Yoon, Korean driver, is on pit lane right now. You'll see him in the background as the cars come around to complete this lap. I can tell you, by the way, the team manager of the lead car has been called to race control, and I'm sure that's going to be about that race start.
Be about that start. And while that happens, just an update as to who's the fastest man on the track right now. It is young Philip Hansen in second spot. Well, it was, but he has put in, well, now actually, in fact, his 1:56.370. That is the fastest lap that we've seen so far. Philip Hansen leading the charge for United Autosports. As Graham said earlier, big day for United Autosports. It didn't quite work out for them in qualifying, but they have delivered the goods, especially in Buriram. There is that Audi. Had a great performance in qualifying and just looked notably faster. We actually noted in the midway through last season that the Tianchi Racing team was slowly pulling their stuff together with a lot of reliability issues before then. But since then, the results have been piling in. And yesterday, these two 2019 spec Audis really did set the track on fire, 203 and 204.
So 13, the championship leaders.
Just hanging back a little bit off this pack. They want to find out what's going to be happening and whether Miro is going to go through. He looked like he was going to go through there. Still, there. This should be it now.
It's going to be another drive-through penalty this time as Mira Konopka makes it up, and that will make it, at least at this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 LMP2 cars in that order. He's a lap down, isn't he? Because, of course, of the pit stop penalty earlier. It was a required engine change for the V12. The Aston Martin. In comes Pipa Durrani to take that drive-through penalty only. On the brakes for the pit blend line there, the pit lane entry line.
Very important line.
Yeah, because you don't want to be paying for speeding here.
No.
That, though, is the championship leading car, the number 11 car. These guys with Takeshi Kimura-san at the wheel of the car, based, as we said, just outside Fuji Speedway. A team with no little ambition came here looking to start on what they expected to be a long journey towards a chance at the Le Mans 24 Hours didn't expect remotely to get there this quickly. Meantime, we've got a new leader at LMP3 because Vipanisa Racing in the hands of Nigel Moore
has come up from the back of that
He
grid
has.
from the wardrobe malfunction incident.
And also another change further back. If you look back there behind the two United Autosports car, you'll see the white car with the two different blue trim on the front of the car. Colours of Scotland. The Kyrgios Nielsen Racing, Colin Noble has moved up, which pushes Kuba Shimosky a further place down. So the order, the running order of these 5 cars, and I suspect a little later into the race of 4 of these cars, is going to define a very important championship indeed.
And now looking just at the bottom of your screen, you can see the class leaders. That's Philip Hansen, of course, car 22. And in LMP3, that is Nigel Moore. And of course, for GT, that is one of the Tianchi Audis.
Garrett Grist forced into a defensive line there. Is that going to give the opportunity for Colin Noble to make a bit of a move on the two United Autosports cars? He's going to want to do that. They're going to be battling away not just here in Asia for championship positions, but in Europe as well for this season. So you better get used to the sight of a slightly pumped up. Oh, he goes the inside. Great move from Colin Noble there. That looked like it was coming, but neatly done.
It also looked like he snatched at that opportunity a little bit, but he has got it.
Gathered it up.
Or has he?
Almost upbraked himself there into the second part of that complex, but he comes out the corner, takes the position. Now he's going to look to do what he can do to fend off the 3, chase down the 2. 3 car, though, in the hands of Kai van Berlo, not giving up that place easily. They're going wheel to wheel. Pushes wide. That was a little over-ambitious from Kai van Berlo. And Colin Noble very much more wise than that, but Kuba Shimosky's now looking to the outside. He goes around the outside too. So that was a costly mistake there from Kai van Berlo. Looked to force the error in the wrong place. Kuba Shimosky loses a place and then gains one back. Number 3 car shuffled back 2 positions in almost as many corners. This has got a lot of fight left in it yet, this LMP3 battle, because believe you me, watch this group compress once again. 4 very quick guys.
They have been nose to tail now for pretty much this entire lap, and I actually thought for a second that Colin Noble actually may have driven the first half of this lap just looking in his mirrors, because he literally was defending so well. And that is the point when you exit and enter these very fast corners at Sepang. If you're in a train like this, and a nose to tail especially, you're going to have to enter that corner looking in your mirrors to find out exactly where that car behind you is, whether it's going to be going on the inside or the outside.
Here's Nigel Moore leading LMP3. That gap going out again a little last time. I'm going to keep an eye on that as Colin Noble dials himself into a different program now. He's had attack through traffic mode.
That's right.
He's now going to try and close a gap. Now that, I think, is one of the real tests of the psychology of a racing driver. It's basically what
dealing
you're racing.
with the different
You're
situations.
racing the clock.
Yeah.
You're racing a gap. You're not racing a car you can see. You might just see him. There he is. That's the gap. So at least he's got a sight line to his next target. The 35 car, Panis Barthez competition, Jean-Baptiste Lehay, 4th position. A little bit of no man's land now for Jean-Baptiste. He was up into 3rd position as a result of the early pit stop penalty, the drive-through penalty for the 35. Keeping an eye on this little battle. This is not for position. This is the 2-car Garrett Grist making his way through a substantial amount of traffic. There goes the 2. Shimosky's lost a place in the 3-car.
Well, that's a tricky turn, actually. A 9 and 10 here at Sepang. It's uphill as well.
That is a change for 4th position, because Kai van Berlo has gone through to take the position from Kuba Shimosky, and that might well have been in LMP3 traffic. That's the way these things can happen. There you go. That's confirmation of it. Van Berlo is ahead. They make their way by the number 38 car. That's the JCDC car in the hands of Rick Yoon, running 21st and 10th in LMP3 after that 2-minute stop and hold for the engine change. In comes the number 8. This is Pipo Derani out.
Well, a good stint from Pippo, with the exception of that jump start, but then a little bit too excited at the start.
I think so. In goes gentleman driver Alexander West. Here, though, is the 66 car, still leads GT. And leads, by the way, GT by about a minute now. Remember, the vast majority of the teams started with their gentleman drivers, with the exception of Johnny Molam. No one has ever accused Johnny Molam of being a gentleman. but pro driver. But of course, Johnny having to take that 2 minutes stop and hold, and has been pushing very hard indeed to recover some of that ground. Here we go, first of the pit stops for a GT car. This is the 88. That car pits from 19th position overall, 3rd in GT. Now, are we going to see Dries van Teur at this point, or will they wait until later? Right? Into the pits comes the LMP3 leader. They said at the top of the hour, in comes Nigel Moore. These are going to be the moments that define the shape of this season. Is it going to be Douglas Koo? It is. So Douglas will climb aboard.
Nigel has made up a little for that. Now, let's just have a look back. Everything that's happened in the first hour of the 4 hours of Sepang.
Asian Le Mans season got underway at Sepang with Pipo Derani a little trigger happy in the number 8 Spirit of Race. Ligier, he got away a little bit too quickly, I'm afraid. That would lead to a pit stop penalty later. Car Guy dropping back in the order. That's not unusual this part of the race, with Kimura-san looking to just finish this race. Round goes the number 88. But the action was all about LMP3, and with multiple cars in the championship hunt, there are multiple combinations possible. It's about the 2 and the 13. They bookend that quartet of cars at this stage. Colin Noble, though, in the 79 Courier Cos Nielsen car was the man on the move, making his way through the traffic. Kai van Berlo running wide. That cost him a further position. This was Noble up into 2nd place in LMP3, and looking at this car, the 65 Viper-Nisa racing car, from the back of the grid after woes in qualifying, losing pole position to a wrong choice of shoes. Pipo Derani makes his pit stop penalty. Handed the lead as a result of that penalty for the number 8. Philip Hansen set fair for an untroubled run at this stage to what he hopes and they hope will be a championship win and a confirmed Le Mans place for United Autosports. Into the pits, we can see at the top of the screen there is the new race leader last time around. That was Colin Noble, made his way through into the lead of the race. He'd already got by, of course, the number 2 and the 13. They both pit behind him, so the 1, 2, 3 in LMP3 are on pit lane together. That is Matt Bell coming out in the number 3 car. He pitted from 4th position, so he'll now make up the ground to the 3 cars. There they are. That is the 1, 2, 3 in the order. All 3 of those cars in championship contention.
It's a great
depending
shot.
on how these things actually turn out. And what that also means, by the way, is the 13 car was right with Gerrit Grist at the point at which these cars pitted. It was less than 2 seconds between the pair. They are the real championship contenders if things don't go wrong. Martin Hipper takes over the Inter-Europol competition car. Matt Bell moves up to 3rd because of the troubles for his team car. Chris Buncombe has come out in that 2 car. Douglas Koo we saw climb aboard the 65. Kristen Olsen is in the number 7 Courier Cos Nielsen car. Buncombe is dropping right down the order here. Margot Lafitte is aboard the 50. Daughter, of course, of F1 hero Jacques Lafitte, surely Jacques Lafitte, one of my sporting heroes.
One of mine too.
Absolutely.
Heroes.
Aidan Reid is aboard the Eurasia car number 36. Rick Yoon stays aboard the 38 Jackie Chan DC racing car. Mike Simpson has stayed aboard the 44 Ginetta. There is the Viper-Nisa racing car, 65, led of course the race from the start of the race as Nigel Moore managed to make his way through from the back of the LMP3 grid to the front and got in amongst the P2 cars just briefly. Just another stellar stint from Nigel after rather disgracing himself in qualifying with that wrong choice of shoes. He's out of the car now. Douglas Koo is aboard the car, pushing on as best he possibly can. And we're going to get to hear from Nigel down with Nadia on pit lane in just a moment or two after that race-leading stint in LMP3. He's with Nadia.
Right, at the garage of Viper-Nisa Racing, you got out of the car and the car was actually in the leading position for LMP3, doing very well out there. I guess I just wonder, how did you do it and how are you feeling right now?
No, feeling good. We did what we needed to do in qualifying, but unfortunately, mishap, we got put to the back. But that doesn't set us back. We went out, we had fun, you know, against a lot of ELMS teams here. We came from the back of the grid to the front and pulled away, and then just backed off, saved the car. Car's really, really good. Viper lads are doing an excellent job, and for their home race as well, it's just what they needed for a good send-off for the last round. So big well done to all the team and everyone, and thank you.
This is going to be, again, significant moments for the championship standings and the way in which this championship is going to be decided.
Championship changing.
It is
points,
indeed.
in
So
fact.
just to make it clear, by the way, the other car in major title contention here was the 2 car. After that pit stop, we'll find out, I'm sure, from Nadia a little later what happened there for the United Autosports
They're currently
team.
6th in class.
They are 6th in class. Chris Buncombe lapping in fairly competitive order, but 6th in class and now a minute and a half back from this lead order. Disaster, I'm afraid, for the number 2 car. Up the inside goes Martin Hipper. He takes the lead in LMP3 with a neat move there. But can he hold that around the outside?
I think he's just found this big
Almost
brick
3
wall.
wide here. I think Kai van Berlo might actually get the run on the 2 of them here. Well, it's played out for Martin Hipper beautifully. It was the Aston Martin again that proved the pick, but here comes Kai van Berlo around the outside to try to take 2nd place.
That is the second time that we've seen the Aston Martin essentially be used as a blind.
Absolutely. So he goes around the outside of Tony Wells. Tony Wells, I think, decides to give best there for this point. Remember, all 3 of these cars can mathematically do it, but pretty clearly the 13 car goes to the lead. A win of the opening round, 2nd place at Fuji, 2nd place in Buriram means they're 7 points ahead in the championship. Their major contender looks to be in a little bit of trouble on track, at least because of that long pit stop. And the 13 car, all of a sudden, well, the outlook is as sunny and as bright as the paint on the side and the back of that Ligier.
Car guy, Kei Kozolino, of course, we've talked to him over the season as well. A lot has been delivered by this car, of course, especially on the home race at Fuji. But they just couldn't pull it together yesterday. That didn't mean that James Collado and Kei Kozolino couldn't put in fast times yesterday, but those extra fast times from the 2 Audis were just enough now. And they kind of left car guy just wondering what they have to do this weekend if they're going to pull this championship off.
The answer is finish.
Yes,
I think it's as
that's
simple
it,
as that.
yeah.
It's a single point required, but that must be a nervy time. It is a matter of, it's a risk-free approach, but the risk-free approach at the moment has got them 2nd position in this race, albeit some little way back. Yes, with quicker guys to come in, including Kai Kozolino. Here we go with, well, the ARC Bratislava squad in line astern. So it's Central Europe to the 4 here. 2 Slovakian enter cars, then the Polish flagged into Europol team. There's the Ginetta again, number 44 car, I think still in the hands of Mike Simpson. Used to this kind of weather, of course, in Yorkshire, 35 degrees. Usually, though, it's in the chip pan. So the big trouble for the number 8 car stopped on the crest there.
That spirit of race had been this weekend.
Trouble, safety car is, he's got the thing now. Oh,
Stall?
right. No. Now, that's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. Safety car was scrambled just at the point that Alexander West managed to get that car moving again. So has the safety car actually left the pit lane? Because if it has,
then it's a full course yellow.
Well, if it has, it's going to be the whole field
has
behind
to pull
the
up
safety,
the safety car.
That's going to be very significant. Did the safety car leave the pit lane? I think it did.
And it looks like it has.
We wait to see safety car scramble, and we also wait to see where he picks this up and exactly how they're going to handle this, because this is going to be a very... There we are.
There it is.
The Mercedes-Benz safety car, and behind, it's not the lead car at the moment, so there will be a wave by. It's the 24 car with, I think, the leader behind that. It's the 2 United Autosports Ligiers. So we are 2 hours, well, just about 2.5 hours to go. At the end of this straight, you will see the silver Mercedes-Benz, lights out, of course, on top of the car, pull to driver's right and into the pit lane, and then it will be go, 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 and Chris Buncombe is going to have his mirrors full of, well, everything.
Yes, absolutely everything.
Not too many LMP2 cars that close at the moment to Chris, so he'll have a little bit of respite. Here comes the number 4 car.
Bit wide there. I think that might be the spirit of race again, actually.
So Chris Buncombe is going to get a bit of time here. He might be wise to get through turn 1, 2, let it can go. Goes around the outside. Out comes the 25 car. That surprises me. I'll come back to why that surprises me in just a moment.
Let's find out what's going on in the team. Nadia has caught up with the Inter-Europol team. Let's get down the pit lane and find out what they're thinking right now.
How was your stint? We want to hear.
It was difficult. It was very difficult. I managed to stay in the car for the whole stint, but towards the end, it was getting a bit tricky because it was so incredibly hot. We don't have air conditioning, and the air coming through the nose, it's hotter. It's even hotter, so you can't get a break. But I managed, and Martin took the car over, and he's doing a great job. We are leading now, so everything looks to be quite okay until now.
The 35 car in the hands of Panis Bartes competition to the lead, 24 car with Andrea Pizzitola under a second back. This is the lead pair. It is Judd Viates in the rear of both of these Ligiers. Behind this pair, Paul Di Resta 10 seconds back. Not quite yet on that pace, might just be getting the correct heat into those Michelin tyres.
Let's get down to the pit. Nadia is with Pippo Durrani from Spirit of Race. What happened there?
Yes, of course, the lingering question. We all want to know, Pippo, what happened at the start there?
No, I misjudged. I made a mistake, unfortunately. I accelerated where I was supposed to, but the rules here, it's different. You need to wait the lights to go off before you can go. In America, I do a little bit different, so yeah, my bad. Sorry for the team.
Now this is about right in terms of the regular pit stop rotation. This, by the way, puts Algarve Pro Racing and Andrea Pizzitola to the lead of the race.
Yeah.
This is still, by the way, a hard-fought battle for the lead in LMP3. Matt Bell with the Inter-Europol competition car now 7 seconds back, but Christian Olsen now challenging. This is, by the way, Martin Hipper looking to put a lap on Chris Buncombe. So this is a decisive moment in the LMP3 battle.
As this will put one of the UA cars to rest.
The main contender UA car to rest here. If the cars run untroubled, this is not a good moment for United Autosports.
Well, they weren't helped by that little puff
there
of dust just
up
now.
The inside he goes. And Hipper ahead of Buncombe. That is the lead car in the championship, going by the 2 car that needed to win this race and finish ahead. Up the inside as well, Christian Olsen takes a look at a nibble.
He had a look.
Because he fancies a go at second place here, Christian Olsen. The young Dane going great guns here. Absolutely stellar stuff.
Now, that is the R24 car just behind them.
Great stuff here. 10, 11 seconds is the gap. Does that round the outside. That's a bit Buffalo Girls.
Still to come, of course, Philip Hansen's second stint. We've got Pippo Durrani's second stint as well.
We absolutely have.
And let's just take this opportunity to look back at the second hour of the 4 hours of Sepang.
Car Guy looking in very good form on the way to what they hope is going to be the championship win. The TF Sports Aston Martin in its final race internationally. Car Guy going to the lead, head of the TSRT car, but squiggly in pursuit there. But Kay Cosolino looking set fair at the moment before we get James Collado back into that car. LMP3 continues to dole out the entertainment. It's looking good at the moment for Inter-Europol competition. The number 2 car, as we're just hearing, suffering steering problems which caused a longer pit stop. 3, 4 wide along the pit straight there as things sorted themselves out in the leading order. It's the 3 United Autosports car that leads. Christian Olsen in the number 7 Ikoria Kos car, having the drive of his career so far and in podium contention. But Martin Hipper now aboard Inter-Europol's 13. A win already and 2 second places. They need to finish ahead of this car's sister car, the number 2, to clinch the championship. 22 car now in the hands of Paul Di Resta. There's Philip Hansen in the heat of the noonday sun here that took the car to almost the halfway point. Paul Di Resta is now ahead, but it was a safety car that was called for a brief stop on track from Alexander West. Gearbox problems to the number 8 car closed up the field and made a huge difference to a number of issues, including a further woe for the number 2 car, because that allowed the remaining pack to close up behind them. And they were now going to be a lap down as the safety car was lifted, a lap down to the lead cars in the class. It's a mountain to climb now for what was the major championship contender behind Inter Europol as we get into the final 2 hours of the 4 hours of Sepang. Andrea Pizzitola, it's so far been, well, a pretty mixed bag for the Algarve Pro Racing team. They're at the moment winning this race, 9.2 seconds now. Paul de Resta is closing in. We're going to go down, though, to talk to de Jong from the number 24 car, leading the race in the hands of Andrea Pizzitola. Down with Nadia in pits now.
So Pizzitola in the car right now. Harrison Yui will be jumping in and bringing the car home, I'm sure.
Yeah, when Andrea will pit, then Harry will come in and he will finish the race.
Everything seems to be A-OK. All the best to Algarve Pro Racing. So you heard it from the man, the car that's leading the pack right now.
Matt Bell continues on his relatively untroubled way, extending that lead still over Martin Hipper. 203s at the moment for
Look at this,
the
Andrea Pizzitola in the pits.
This is the lead car, and that is going to be a driver change. That is Harry Newey standing by. The Red Bull aside the helmet.
Well, it's good that they're in the pits because a lot of people on the internet have also been asking about what the current standings are for the GT class.
The current standings are
That's
2
this
laps
car.
up. Kai Cosolino gets out of the car. That's the 24 car, Harrison Newey, trying to chase down the lead. But in the pits is the leader, Paul de Resta. He's going to be down in the pits right now talking to Nadia.
It's really hot. Actually, the first stint is okay. The worst is when you stop to refuel the car for the second stint, then it becomes really hot inside and it never go away. So you have to deal with it. But yeah, you know, when you push hard, you are focused and you don't feel the heat. It's just when you get out of the car, it's really tough. But it's the same for everyone. And I think we've done a good job until now. We will continue like this, hopefully.
Here's the 2 car on pit road now. So that 45 seconds slightly is flattered to deceive because, of course, it's 45 seconds plus a pit stop to come. Out climbs Chris Buncombe. Effectively stadium truck trouble
Now
for
that's
the 66
very
car.
slow.
That's not in a good place. And I wonder if we got is that a puncture for that car?
We were talking about
It didn't look
reliability
good.
of these new 2019 Audis just yesterday in qualifying.
There's a big vibration there.
Yeah,
look at the rear wing.
rear wing. Well, that's not looking too good, and that might be. Well, actually, the tyres look great. He's not going to make it to the pits.
That might be suspension.
Steering
it's
problem.
the front wheel. It's the front wheel.
It is the
steering.
front wheel, as you can see. Yeah,
It's steering on that car.
That's too
and that
much.
might be. Is that going to be a safety car or a full course yellow? What is going to be that here? Because that could be a defining moment.
Are we going to spin the safety car roulette wheel again?
Here we go. That's what's going to happen here now. It is going to be a yellow flag at the moment. What are we going to go for here? Are we going to see the Mercedes safety car?
Well, obviously, while we wait for that to happen, what this means is that that's one less of those GT cars, and especially one less Tianchi Audi for Car Guy to worry about.
Indeed. So we need to pick up the 24 Algarve Pro car to see where he is behind the safety car.
Let's get down to the pit lane. Nadia is with United Autosports and Patrick Byrne. Let's see what's going on in the middle of that team.
Saleh just got out of the car. We couldn't speak to him because, of course, he's resting. But did you get a chance to speak to him?
Yeah, Saleh did a great job. He's running those times. That's exactly what we needed from all of us, and he did exactly that. We got some penalties throughout our races. Both of us had to serve penalties, and they're just for some random calls. But, you know, still because of those, we're still prospering, and it's great. So, yeah, he did a great job.
This is looking increasingly like good news for Car Guy, by the way. The R24 Ligier is in the pit lane as well, as is the number 38 Jackie Chan DC racing car. That car's been there for 9 minutes, by the way. There is the Inter Europol car, top of the screen behind the Aston Martin. So the leading car has got the number 2 car behind it.
You guys are in a great spot.
Fingers crossed. We still have an hour 20 to go. That's quite a big, long time. So for now, everything is okay. Everything is okay. We're under safety car. We actually finished our 3rd mandatory pit stop. So we just hope that our fuel can last. And if it lasts, we don't have to do any more stops. So yeah, just fingers crossed.
You heard it from the man himself. Just fingers crossed everything's doing fine so far. James Collado in the car right now for Car Guy.
Newey looking to get this race back underway as quickly as he possibly can. He goes now. There are the two LMP2 cars. Then you've got the United Autosport cars. They're going to be looking to get by as quick as they possibly can. Bit of a weave there. Gets the heat in the tyres to get the grip when he gets into turn one here. It's not, I don't think he's going to be able to do it before turn one. It's going to take a little longer than that. Up the inside of the Eurasia car goes the second of the United Autosports cars. But Harrison Newey is going to take advantage here for as long as he possibly can of the availability of the pick in traffic provided by the Kyrgios Nielsen car and the Viper Nisa car. It's the 79 of Colin Noble. Just over an hour to go now. Points, by the way, in the LMP2M class. It's 9 points difference between the ARC Bratislava car leading the championship and the chasing 23 car. Miro Konopka, the team principal, team owner, long-standing stalwart of endurance racing.
Yeah.
And that's come courtesy of second place in Shanghai, a win at Fuji, a win in Buriram, pole position in the class at Buriram 2.
Just solid results.
Absolutely, against them, United Autosports, 25 points with that win in Shanghai, Fuji, Poland second there, third in Buriram, so a more mixed season from the 23 car.
Right now, though, as we get into the 4th hour, let's have a look back at hour number 3 of the 4 hours of Sepang.
Into the final hour of the 2018-19 Asia Le Mans Series, and looking back at an hour with dramas in each of the classes. 51 car moving up into second place for a while in GT, but Car Guy looking stronger. Post-safety car, though, Dries van Teur into contention in the number 88 CSRT Audi. Can Car Guy make it a clean sweep, a championship and a Le Mans place? Number 7 car in the hands of Christian Olsen, and then Nick Adcock into contention for a podium as well. Their best run of the season. But at the moment, all about the championship leading number 13 car. A lap up on their nearest championship contenders, and into Europol could be on the way to Le Mans. The 24 car in the hands of Harrison Newey as we come towards the final hour led the way. And then the 66 car led the race early on in GT. Then a problem at the front left corner left us needing a second safety car for the 4 hours of Sepang. Closed up the field again. That caused all sorts of dramas. We went back to green, and it was all about the lead 2 cars in the overall running. And the 24 car made good its escape. It leads by a convincing margin, although not finally yet a race deciding margin, as we head into the final knockings of the season. Harrison Newey has got the hammer down. LMP3 and LMP2 AM still to be decided, though, and the LMP2 AM battle at the moment is all about a battle between the second and third place cars in the running. ARC Bratislava need to find a bit more pace. 24 car, though, is on its way to the checkered flag. 60 minutes to go, 58 minutes to go in fact now. And this race, Jivan, has still got a lot left to give.
Yes, I completely agree with you there as we look at that Car Guy Ferrari just looking to trying to not get past, but at least let through Harrison Newey. And he does. Here's turn 9 and 10.
We are into, this will be their final stop and their final scheduled stop of the season here in Asia.
It should be all right. If they have been nursing that car for, as we suspect, for the last half an hour or so, then it might just be what should be just conventional protocol following stuff.
Yep, that's going to be another driver change, and again the final driver change of the season.
The quality of the field, the strength of the drivers being experienced. That's a big spin there for the number 3 car. How significant is that going to be, Graham?
That's the third place car. Sorry, that's the fourth place car. That is not, I don't think he's got it gathered up.
He has.
That's not going to put him back into the clutches yet of Christian Olsen, but Olsen is going much, much quicker. Also going quickly at the moment, Wayne Boyd, but it's beginning to compress again.
It is.
In the LMP3 class. This is the 24 car. Coming around the outside of the 3 in the hands of Jim Maguire. No contact, I don't think, there.
No contact.
I think Jim was just ran out of road as the 24 car tried to make its way around there. That 3 car was dropped back from contention. Had left the race, remember, the number 3 car. But the number 2 has driven back into contention.
Watch the Audis. Let's get down to the pit lane. Nadia is with the Tianchi Racing Team. Let's find out what's been happening with TSRT.
Yep, we are with Dries van Teur, started in pole position. How was your stint?
quite tough, to be honest. It's extremely hot. We have no aircon, we have no drinking system in the car, so compared to the others, it is really hot. And one stint is enough for a driver. I think you get really exhausted and everything starts to get really slower and slower, and yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah.
But the drama is in LMP2 AM, and it's Anders Fjordbak stopped on track in the number 25 car. This car, remember, was the pick in the championship battle, had taken the points at one point here that would have cost ARC Bratislava the possibility of that championship.
And it would be just reward for the ARC Bratislava team. We were talking about how committed they've been for decades now in endurance racing, but over the last couple of years now, that's a very slow car, and it looks like United Autosports car.
United Autosports car. Which one is that?
Well, that's the question. We had to get this camera angle, didn't we? I mean, they just don't have it on the back of the car. Let's look onto the side of it if we can. That's
23. It's the 23. It's the 23 car. That is LMP2 AM, and if he can't get that car going, that is the championship gone in the last half hour again. He goes, sweeps to the outside. He's going to look for the cutback. Tony Wells is going to be forced into the tighter line. That was a brilliant stuff from Chris Buncombe. Couldn't quite make it work. Great stuff from these two.
Well, it did. It was a great move. He just couldn't pull off the second half of it. Now he's going to have a look down as well as they approach turn one. How important is this specific move?
Well, it could be very important, and it could be as Chris Buncombe tries around the outside. There's touch.
Well,
there's
a huge touch and a stop, and that's another disaster for United Autosports. And just went a bit too inside.
Let's have a look at what we want to see here is
whose fault. I have to say that's Buncombe's, if you ask me.
I think he got across
the line.
I'm not sure where Tony could have gone other than braking to a stop. Maybe a little ambitious by Chris. He was 2/3 of the way by, but the corner wasn't yet his.
That's right. Let's get down to the pits. Nadia is with United Autosports. Let's find out some more about this car.
Well, unfortunately, the safety car came out halfway through, so it ruined the strategy. We had a 40-second lead to the car behind, but to our rival, we had about 1 minute and 20 seconds, roughly. So, unfortunately, it messed up our strategy, and it was a safety car that was quite uncalled for. We weren't really sure that it was necessary, so unfortunately that happened. What that meant is that Paul had to get back in the car, and I would have to do another double stint, which should take me over 3 hours. And when we realized that we had a penalty for a pit lane infringement, we fell too far behind the challenge for the lead, and all we have to do is finish this race realistically to win the championship. So
it's going to be the final corner of the season for Algarve Pro Racing. The 4 hours of Sepang will be done in just 4 or 5 seconds time, and it will be Harrison Newey for Algarve Pro Racing, the Ligier JSP2 Judd, that takes the checkered flag and the race win at the 4 hours of Sepang. That, ladies and gentlemen, is season done. Here comes the Inter-Europol competition. Polish car, 13. It'll be Martin Hipper to bring the car back. Kuba Szymowski shares the spoils. The team under Sasha Fassbender will take the Polish flag to Le Mans this year. Here, though, comes the most perfect run of the lot. You can't do better in 4 races than 4 wins, because Car Guy from Fuji are going to Le Mans. Well done, boys, the number 11 car.
Here are the results from the 4 hours of Sepang. Algarve Pro Racing with their second race win of the season, edging out United Autosports and Panis Barthez in LMP2. In LMP3, Inter-Europol take the race win ahead of Ecuria Kos and United Autosports, and Car Guy make it a perfect 4 wins out of 4 and take the GT class. A solid performance from the Tianchi Racing team sees them in second spot, and Spirit of Race close out the season with a 3rd place here in Malaysia.
Searing heat at the very start of the race, 4 hours to go, and it was already 32 degrees. Pipo Derani got the power in a little too early. He'd be punished for that a little later, as you'll see, but behind him it was going to get close and very personal through the tricky turns 1, 2 and 3, but everybody kept it on the island. And away we went with the final 4 hours of 16 hours of racing. Round went the number 88 Audi, but their attack would come again. It would be Car Guy, though, that would come through the chaos at times to again claim the 4th win. 4 wide briefly down the start-finish straight. And in the van there was the number 13 Inter-Europol car. And Incident late in the race between the 79 car and the 2 as Chris Buncombe tried to claim back a pace. But another faultless run from the Polish flagged Inter-Europol team would see them come home as race winners and champions. P2 just went at it and at it again. The 24 car from Algarve Pro Racing at de Jong had that brush with the number 3 car, that judged as a racing incident. The 22 car looked set to take a race win for much of the race, but the 25 and then the 23 wilted in the heat. The 24 took full advantage of the timing of the safety car to get ahead on track and then pull away a race win, but not the championship for the 24. The championship and the Le Mans position would go to the 22 car.
So to the final podium of the current season, and Algarve Pro very happy to be sitting on top of that podium. Their team managers celebrating with them. United Autosports also celebrating, but who should be celebrating there is the Panis Barthez team, who picked up a great third. Meanwhile, in the LMP2 AM class, look at that, very happy from Miro Konopka, the team principal and driver, of course, from ALC Bratislava. In the LMP3 class, Inter-Europol, another solid, consistent performance from them to battle out their rivals, and they well-deservedly take top spot. Lots of celebrations from the Kuriakos team as well. Good performance from them. And United Autosports with the third. In the GT class, well, who can keep Car Guy down? 4 straight wins. Just the 2 poles in the end, but they didn't need any more. And for Tianchi Racing Team, well, everything looking good for them in the future at 2019 Spec Audi, getting them onto the 2nd spot of the podium.
I cannot even begin to describe how fun and eventful this whole season was. Sepang 4 hours did not disappoint, and of course the previous 3 rounds that we had was spectacular, and we hope it kept you at the edge of your seat. Of course, congratulations to the winners of this race, and also to the 4 teams that are going to be going to the 24-hour of Le Mans. We wish you all the best for that race in June. We'll be keeping an eye out for that. Of course, a huge thank you to all the participating teams, to everyone who has made this event a success, and of course to those of you who are watching, who has been with us every step of the way. We want to say thank you very, very much. And of course, if you enjoyed this season, we cannot wait to see what 2019-2020 has got in store for us in November. So we hope you stick around for all of that action. And until that day comes, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nadia Nash. Goodbye.